Welcome to a brand new episode of CNB. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Partnkar. Today it's a bit of an off-road flavor to the show because we've got an off-roading sort of bike and we've also got a true blue off-roader SUV. Let's get started with the bike. It's quite obvious. It's the one I'm sitting on. It builds on the Himalayan family for Royal Enfield. A lot of anticipation around this one, but has Royal Enfield delivered the goods and the pricing? Preetam tells you.
The Royal Enfield Himalayan Scram 411. A more accessible model in the Himalayan family, but still promising decent all-round capability, it's been described as a model for urban adventures by Royal Enfield. And it's all designed to address growing consumer interest in the entry-level adventure segment of motorcycles, designed to offer versatility for the daily commute, the occasional long-distance ride, and decent off-road capability. But the Scram still must live up to the reputation of the Himalayan, which charted a new course for Royal Enfield. After all, it's the Himalayan which introduced a Royal Enfield product that was purpose-built for what many of the brand's customers have been doing for years: adventure touring with good off-road capability. Can the Scram replicate the same at a slightly lower price tag?
The Himalayan has been designed as a purpose-built adventure motorcycle, but a lot of its customers use it for everyday riding, for a daily commute to college or even to the workplace in the city, rather than go on real off-road adventures. So enter the new Royal Enfield Himalayan Scram. It's a new model, yes, but based on the Royal Enfield Himalayan with a few changes to make it more accessible for new riders or to first-time riders looking for a little bit of off-road capability, but to use it as an urban adventure motorcycle.
The Scram certainly has similarities to the Himalayan. It looks like a stripped down, slightly lowered and more friendly version of the Himalayan. Its vibrant colors make it look quite appealing, and it loses the Himalayan's windscreen, and instead the headlight nacelle is new. The Scram also drops the tank mounted frame of the Himalayan and instead gets small tank shrouds. The shape of the tank and its volume though remain the same. What is also different is the single piece seat, with a slightly lower height and slightly different side panels. But the most significant difference is that the Scram looks more accessible and compact than the Himalayan, thanks to the smaller front wheel and slightly lower height.
So the Scram has the same 411cc engine of the Royal Enfield Himalayan, but there are a few notable changes. For starters, this one gets a smaller 19-inch wheel compared to the 21-inch big wheel of the Himalayan. And of course, the ground clearance has gone down by 20 mm. It still has 200 mm ground clearance, and front suspension travel has decreased somewhat on the Royal Enfield Scram. According to Royal Enfield, this may be designed for urban adventures, but this can still do a fair bit of off-road if you're in the mood for some off-road riding as well. So that's what we intend to find out. What all has changed, how does it ride, and can it still go off-road? And how does it feel to ride? Because the fueling on this has been changed, the throttle response is said to be different, crisper. So we're riding into the highway, we're riding it off-road, and we'll talk about how the new Royal Enfield Scram is, both on the highway, on the road, as well as off-road.
The handlebar has been moved closer, and the lowered front suspension with the 19-inch front wheel has also shortened the wheelbase. In stock form, the Scram will be sold without a center stand, and according to the spec sheet, curb weight without fuel is at 185 kilograms. But with a tank full of fuel and the center stand, it's only 3.5 kg lighter than the 199 kilograms Himalayan. So there's no significant weight loss advantages. The hand guards though are optional accessories and not standard fitment, and the same goes for the tripper navigation pod, which will have to be fitted as an accessory.
So when you walk into a Royal Enfield showroom, you'll get to see the new Royal Enfield Himalayan Scram along with the Royal Enfield Himalayan, of course. These two colors are the top spec variants. There are two more below it, the mid spec variant, and there are three base variants. No other changes apart from the colors. Now for somebody who's upgrading from a smaller bike or even a first bike, the Royal Enfield Himalayan may look a little imposing and intimidating, but the Scram, it looks accessible, looks friendlier, looks easier to ride. So that's the customer Royal Enfield really is targeting with the new Scram. Looks easy, looks manageable, and looks easy to ride.
Where the Scram is immediately at home is in the city. It's easy to maneuver, and the smaller front wheel has made it feel more agile and alert. Even on the highway, the Scram offers impressive performance. It's comfortable for long hours in the saddle and will easily cruise at triple-digit speeds all day long. The brakes are same as the Himalayan, but on the Scram, ABS is not switchable. And when the tarmac ends, the Scram springs a pleasant surprise. Make no mistake, it still offers very good off-road ability. Despite the slightly lower ground clearance and 19-inch front wheel, the Scram truly shines on a light trail. In fact, it can take on almost all kinds of terrain it will be introduced to by 99% of its target customers. And an off-road outing on the Scram makes it quite an enjoyable and entertaining experience.
The first thing that you notice on the Scram is the riding position. You still sit upright. It's quite comfortable place to be in, but it's not as upright and not as tall as the Himalayan. Quite a friendly riding position, which will be very useful riding it in the city. Now Royal Enfield has also changed the fueling of the motorcycle. The throttle response has been changed somewhat, which has resulted in considerable refinement in the engines to me. The throttle response is crisper in the Himalayan. Of course, the same map will also be introduced in the Himalayan going forward. And this one sits quite comfortably at 100 kilometers per hour on the highway. We clocked a speedo indicated speed of about 125 kilometers per hour on the highway. You do feel a little vibrations on the foot pegs at those speeds, but 100 kilometers per hour you can sit comfortably if you want to go on a long ride. Now, for everyday riding, this is easier to manage and quite nice to ride actually. But what has not changed is it's still a heavy bike. It's just about 3.5 kilos lighter than the Himalayan, but it's still got very good off-road capability. Don't go by the spec sheet, don't go by the smaller front wheel. It can very well do quite a bit of off-roading, as we found out. So overall, I think there is a new Himalayan variant that has been introduced with new colors to give it fresh appeal, and full marks on all fronts really. You can ride it in the city, you can go touring on it if you want to, and you can very well do fair bit of off-road riding as well. Quite a nice bike, I quite like it. What I felt was a little weave at 120, 125 kilometers on the highway. At those speeds, I felt a little weave on the bike. Could be because of the tires, I don't know, could be the chassis, but there is a slight weave, noticeable weave at highway speeds, at very high speeds, triple digit speeds. 80, 90, 100 kilometers, no problem. Beyond 100, there's a weave on the highway. But overall, refined acceleration, refined performance, quite nice to ride, both off-road and on-road.
The Royal Enfield Himalayan needed a refresh, and it has seen significant improvements over the years. The Scram not just extends the family, but also offers a more accessible and friendlier model in the Himalayan family. Something that has all the qualities to appeal to a diverse range of customers. Vibrant colors, compact size, and an attractive price. In terms of rivals, the Scram 411 has the Yazdi Scrambler as its closest rival, both designed for similar use and for a similar customer base. The fact that it does everything quite well that is expected from a bike with a Himalayan name in it makes the Scram a winner in our books. The last time around I drove the Jeep Compass Trailhawk, I called it a wolf in sheep's clothing. A lot has changed in the last couple of years.
In 2019, we got extremely excited about a variant of the Compass. Now, you see here, this too is a Compass, but clearly there is a difference, because the difference is this badge right here. It reads trail rated. Of course, you can't see it from all the way there, but it gets us excited because this is the Trailhawk variant of the Jeep Compass. And it is based on the facelift of the Jeep Compass, which was launched earlier last year. But 3 years later, close to 3 years later, the Trailhawk edition makes a comeback, and that means, yes, it's more rugged, it's more determined to go off-road than ever. And that's what exactly we are going to do, right? Take it out away from the highway and take it on some places where it feels at home. Now, a lot has changed than the last variant. So approach and departure angles too have improved over the last version. And also you can see new colors that you see on the Jeep Compass Trailhawk. So yes, extremely excited that the car is here, and can't wait to take it where it belongs.
But before we do that, let me take you through the approach, departure and breakover angle. There's been a change, and as you can see here, the approach, departure and breakover angles have seen an improvement, which basically means the car is now better equipped for any terrain thrown at it. And we did throw some rocks its way. Of course, before we did all of that, we changed the mode into rock, and it can be done by a simple touch of a button. Thank the select terrain system that lets you do all that very easily. There are two more modes, snow and sand or mud, and of course there is auto. The great part here is that Jeep has moved away from a rotary dial to just a quick toggle switch that makes life easier too, thus keeping the premiumness of the SUV intact. Of course, you have to take things slow when it comes to off-roading, but clearly the Compass Trailhawk had everything sorted. The 20:1 crawl ratio really does give the Trailhawk a significant advantage and ability to climb like no other in the segment. And the 9-speed automatic really shines out here, providing power continuously to the wheels and making sure the torque delivery takes you where you want to go.
Now that transmission has been made in-house, but the design has been sourced from ZF, and that just shines out when you've taken it off the beaten track. But how does it perform on normal roads? Now the Trailhawk is the same engine as in the Jeep Compass facelift. So it's the 2-liter diesel only that you get in this one, and that churns out 168 brake horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque. But the torque kicks in at around 2200 RPM, so the initial acceleration, or the initial burst that you want, is not there, and you are left wanting for more. There is also no sport mode in this one, so obviously you're left wanting to get some more power, and there's no burst there again. Then there are no paddle shifters for ease. You can of course switch it to manual and change the gears, so that's one option that you have. But again, that initial acceleration, especially from the 9-speed gearbox, it's just not there, and you are left wanting for more. On the ride and handling bit though, this does feel very close to what the Compass is, but again the suspension in this one is stiffer, which is why you feel certain bumps on the road, and it might be because of that stiffened suspension that you feel all of that. You know what? The cabin is absolutely sublime. It carries the same layout as on the facelift version of the Compass, and hence carries all the gizmos, and that's a big upgrade from 2019. You can't miss the 10.1-inch Uconnect touchscreen infotainment system, which basically is central to that premium luxurious experience. You get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well. There's a 360-degree camera too, which comes in very handy when you go off-road. The Compass Trailhawk basically gets all the features from the S option variant of the lineup. So yes, there's a panoramic sunroof, integrated navigation and voice commands, and of course, it's big on safety as well. Now we don't have the price of the Compass Trailhawk yet, but it will be upwards of 30 lakh rupees from what we know by experience. So yes, it's not going to be cheap. But if you take to off-roading like fish to water, then yes, this one should be your pick. There are others more capable, yes, but thrilling? No. There are very few cars that come close to what the Trailhawk has to offer. But as an overall package, it's hard to find a perfect fit.
So that's the hardcore variant of the Compass for the true off-roader. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. You got to react to it. Tell us how you liked it, what else you'd like to see. And remember, from next week, we shift our focus to our annual awards. There's lots to take you through, not just the results, but also the entire process and the different jury meet action. All of that from next week on CNB. Till then, please wear your seatbelts. Please wear one of these if you're on a bike, front or back, and join us next week.